Welcome to the TFW podcast. That's freaking wrestling. The best kept secret in wrestling podcasts. Once a week. If you guys haven't noticed, we have dropped to once a week, but this is the schedule probably for the next few months or so. You're going to get them on Thursdays, audio, and then hopefully by Thursday evening on YouTube. But y'all know y'all know who we are. I am Matt. I have Rhodesia in the house. I have Eshaun in the house. And we're ready to pod. We have so much to talk about. And I'm excited just to talk. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to start with Friday Night SmackDown. That's where we got to start.
That was so long ago.
And depending on how this conversation goes, this may be all we talk about. Because I know my eyes showed me on Friday night. But before we get to that, got to shout out all of our freaks out there, our listeners, our supporters. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. This is episode 165. If I have not said that yet. 165. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I guess the first thing I want to ask you guys is, are we going to talk storyline? Or are we going to talk real life first? We're going to talk both. We're going to talk both of them. But what do you guys want to start with? Do you want to start with the real life dichotomy? Or do you just want to stick to the Paul Levesque, WWE, Triple H storyline side?
Let's go storyline first.
You go with that, E?
I don't know where you're going, so you go ahead. We just follow the journey, my brother.
All right. So storyline wise, after a hell of a match, Cody and Solo, bravo to those guys. If I crapped on the SummerSlam match, which I did as much as I could, this was 3 times better. So bravo to both of them. Did what they needed to do. Hell of a way to start SmackDown. And thought we was done seeing Cody, right? And Cody comes out after Roman locks up his own family in the cage, closes that door. Get what we get. And Cody already said earlier in the show, hey, I'm not tagging with this guy. I'm done with bloodline business. Rhodesia, what did you feel about Cody Rhodes saying?
We said we was doing just the storyline first.
This is the storyline. What did you feel about Cody Rhodes saying, I'm done with this. This has nothing to do with me. God bless, but I am out of this equation.
I don't want to. No, I say with my chest. I said, why Cody acting like a little bitch?
Number one face in the company. So I just started watching, what's it called? The Boys?
The Boys.
Just started watching The Boys. I know I'm late. Super, super late. I think I'm on episode 4 of season 1. E, you seen the show yet? On Amazon?
It's actually in my wheelhouse of a show to watch, but for some reason I haven't followed it closely. I did see probably the first 4 or 5 episodes of the first season. It's on the to-do list. It's been on there for a while, but yeah.
So I just started. I'm hooked, but I kept seeing all this stuff online about how Cody was Homelander, and I knew kind of the character, but I didn't really know until I started watching. I really think, and he would never admit this, and maybe he will one day, but Cody's a liar, so we may never get out of him. I truly believe he is playing the Homelander character, but he's playing it straight as a babyface. I think he is truly taking that character and saying, okay, how can I continue to run as this number one babyface, but still move? And if we ever wanted to do some revisionist history, if we ever wanted to do a look back about how I was a heel this entire time, we can point to things that says I was a heel. And we talked about it a little bit with this title run. Almost tried to commit murder against AJ Styles after his mama told him to do it.
But that part doesn't make him a heel, though. Mama told you to do, you got to do it.
About to commit murder. You're the number one babyface. You can't commit murder.
But if your mama told you to do it, you better.
Can't do it. You can't do it. My goal, Roman Reigns never tried to commit murder when he was the number one babyface. So we go through that whole thing.
He ate dog food.
So Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes is now teaming up against Solo and Jacob Fatu at Bad Blood. Which I told you you should have went, brother. Them tickets sky high now. You'll be watching that joint on TV, I am sure, in that beautiful home of yours. But so if we're starting with storyline, let's talk about how we got there. And then really, I guess I didn't think Bad Blood needed this at all. I do think I know where this is going, which I'm excited to talk about too. But what'd you guys think about how it played out on SmackDown? Hell of a SmackDown. That's one of the type of things that SmackDown was a show where I'm like, there's somebody in the world who thought that show sucked. Right? That's, everybody's got their own opinion. I thought SmackDown was almost a perfect wrestling show. But let's talk about how we got there. And then the match at Bad Blood, Roman and Cody teaming up before Survivor Series War Games to take on the Bloodline.
Before I answer that, I do want to say that I really, really, really enjoy that Cody solo match. This was probably the first time where I actually felt like, Solo, you kind of the man. And I never quite felt that before. So I have to give both of them mad props. An amazing match that they put on.
Do you know Solo's words yet to his theme song?
Oh, man. I do, but you had me on the spot. I won't be able to do it. You already got me calling Cody a bitch on live television. Me on live.
2 episodes ago, you was supposed to come back and rap that theme song.
But I was ready at the beginning of it. Nah, I can't do it. I'm under pressure there. But how we got here, I think that you have to give the people Roman before War Games. I mean, just because there already is some people who feel like Roman is a part-timer. He needs to be there more. He's cool and everything, but I'm not going to be like rah-rah for him because he's not around. So the only place to get in is really Bad Blood before War Games. And now that we know right after that solo Cody match, they pretty much plugged War Games right away. So even if, and I remember people saying that WWE spoon feed their fans information, but it works. And to me, I'm like, yep, okay, I gotta see this now at War Games. I know they placed that properly where they're supposed to at the end of that match, but now I am interested in War Games. We just know that we can't have Roman fighting in any capacity before War Games, and if we do, it would have to make sense. Again, I wouldn't want it to be a solo match, so now we have it where he's in a tag team, and I think it's fitting. I'm cool with it.
I don't remember too much of the show besides Roman and Cody. And that reminded me of so much of the Mega Powers uniting. Like the hands coming together. I thought it was fantastic. Now, as far as like when in the scene where Cody was like, yo, I'm done with them. I was like, they probably should have did it a little bit differently. But in the same time, though, it kind of makes sense, man. Like, look, him and Roman ain't friends. Like Roman made his ass, like they had a huge beef with each other for over 2 years. And like that Roman said in his interview when he came out there, like, I ain't changed. I'm still the same dude. Like, right? He hasn't really redeemed himself. He hasn't done anything to take away from the horrible, like, big villain aura that he has, right? He hasn't done anything to redeem himself really from the fans, but we cheer him, right? Everybody wanted to cheer him anyway. Like, but he just was did such a great job as a villain that you wanted to cheer him, which is why when Cody came across and he was like the big baby face, the universe embraced like, all right, we finally got a big time baby face to go against this big time heel, which is why the match at 39 and 40 worked so well, right? But at the same time, like, Roman is still a villain character. He hasn't atoned for any of his misdeeds. He can explain around it. He can be Magneto, right? There's a reason there's a method to the madness. But at the end of the day, this is still a villain who did all these horrendous things to people, and particularly to Cody, like, right? And he trashing him, dragging his name for years. Now all of a sudden, like, I'm supposed to team up with this dude? Like, nah, I'm done. Let Roman. Like he gotta lay in his bed, right? He made this mess, like he made Solo. Now you're gonna have to take care of Solo. But at the same time, like, this is gonna give like the Cody haters, some of them on my podcast with me, like something to talk shit about, and that's cool. That's beautiful. Love who you love. But what I know when I turn on my TV, the man I support, is that this hate that I hear is a fraction of the audience. So when this guy is selling millions of shirts, I just say, flip the birds, y'all. Shut the hell up. Fuck you, it's Cody. Let's go. And at Bad Blood, we got Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. By God, Cody Rhodes. It's going to be a great match. At the same time, I do wish I was at the show. Slightly.
Okay.
Told you, man. Like
slightly.
That's a big one, dude.
Slightly.
You got Punk and Drew and Hell in a Cell. Like that card is coming up magnificently. To your point about the Cody saying like I'm done. I loved it. I loved it. One from a perspective of I just like to start shit. So like I was like, oh, this is great because I can just make this as a heel. But if we were going to play some type of game on the podcast where you guys say, all right, Matt, you have to defend Cody saying I'm not helping Roman, it'd be the easiest thing in the world. No, in no world outside of because he's a baby face, he's a good guy. Should he help Roman Reigns?
But Roman Reigns came and protected him.
No. He did not.
Now.
Roman Reigns came to handle family business.
He didn't come for Cody. He came for
Correct.
Solo.
Come on.
Correct.
But indirectly he did though.
But that's the fun part. Like we could literally have an hour conversation about that, right? So I really, really enjoyed that part. And of course, I enjoyed the part of Roman just saying, well, I don't need you, so I'm good. I can take care of this on my own, which he can't. But that's also the babyface side of him, too. Now, that ain't something that a heel would do. So then what I really, really enjoyed, so now we're about to kind of sprinkle in a little bit of real life. Okay. What I really, really enjoyed was...
What is y'all doing over there?
I've been
asking y'all in the chat for like 3 minutes. What is y'all doing? Calm down. I know it's Cody and Roman. Come on now.
Stop stepping on my shit. Roman Reigns.
No, Mike is stepping on your shit, man.
Stop stepping on your own stuff.
You're right.
Roman Reigns says, I'm good. I don't need this. This is still my WWE. This is still my ring. This is still my fans. And only then does Cody Rhodes show his face.
That's true. He did get hyped.
Only then did Cody Rhodes show his face to no reaction from the crowd. If you don't believe me, go back and listen and watch.
I don't believe you, but I watched.
Loved it because this is just now going into the Cody versus Roman when we get there. When we finally get there. And I think I know when we're going to get there. Cody looked a little small, the same way we thought Roman looked small to The Rock in the build to Mania. To me, that was the way Cody looked. Now, we can have an argument or a conversation surrounding, was that planned like that? We know all eyes are on Roman because he's been gone since WrestleMania. I got that part. But Cody's reactions and facial expressions and verbiage to Roman Reigns came across to me as second fiddle. Did that come across to you guys that? What did you guys think of their interaction on the microphone after Cody came out to answer Roman saying this is still all mine?
Absolutely. But again, like you said, the stage is set for Roman to be more important at this time, even though he's not the champion, because the times we have seen Roman is coming to help, or y'all say take care of family business. I say help Cody, and Cody couldn't even return the favor. But anyways, every time we've seen Cody in that predicament when Roman would come back, Cody is usually on the ground. So if you just look at the optics alone, Roman has been made to look more important than Cody. Again, I'm a huge Roman fan. That's no surprise. But I do feel coming away from that end of that show, I did get that Roman Rock feel. I did get that, hey, he outshined Cody with aura. And aura is something that you really don't see. It's just kind of what you feel, that you feel the aura around them. And I did feel that way. I felt that Cody did not compare to Roman. Again, but for the reasons why he's not around, sure, maybe. But to me, I did feel like it was completely off balance. They were not like 1 and 1. It was like 1 and not 1A, but 1B.
Y'all some fucking haters. And I hate that for y'all because that don't look good on y'all. Y'all some attractive people, and all this hate, this don't look good to y'all, man. Y'all should take them shirts off, man. Be the beautiful people you are. You ain't gotta have hate in your heart, man. Like, y'all are loving people, beautiful couple. This hate is just ugly on y'all. It's just ugly. Cody's fine. So here's the thing about like haters like y'all. Y'all spend so much fucking time.
No. You gave us that beautiful soliloquy. Let me cook. Just to say Cody's fine? he's fine.
I heard y'all hate for like 10 minutes. I'll let y'all go.
Fine.
Let me go. I'll let y'all hate. I'm bringing the love. Okay. So here's the thing: the mega powers, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. Who's the biggest?
Like each other. They like each other.
Who's the biggest? Who's
Hogan? Unfortunately.
Who do we?
Why do you bring up Hogan every episode? You find a way to bring up Hulk. You gotta stop.
Look. Hogan is a dirtbag piece of shit, but I'm not going to deny the history and what I have back in the day.
Bingo for him. He got nervous playing Eshaun and Hogan. Bingo, you got it.
Damn it.
Yeah, he's a dirtbag piece of shit, but it is what it is, right? Roman is the guy. He's been the guy he's been annoyed the guy for the past 10 years. We know that. Right? Cody is 1B. Everybody know Roman is the guy. Right? He wasn't number one on our list. The reason why he wasn't number one on our list is because he's not good at what he is. It's just that he ain't around no more. He's a part-time guy.
He wasn't even on our
right?
list.
But
number one.
Anybody who knows that Roman is the guy, he has that it factor like no other. So comparing Cody to that and say, he didn't no shit, Sherlock. I mean, Roman is the guy. He gonna be that, right? Cody has his personality as a heel. I mean, I'm sorry, as a babyface is.
You said it right.
He's not a babyface. He's a baby.
No, he's not.
And this is.
I know he's not a babyface.
No,
finally,
the heels are Matt and Rhodesia on my show because this guy who's positive, changing people's lives, there for the kids, and y'all sit and find different ways to crap on every show. That's real prerogative. But I just hate don't look good on y'all. Y'all two beautiful people. Y'all should not wear that in y'all soul. But yes, Roman is a big deal. He's the biggest star in all of wrestling, the biggest star we've had in the past 15 years. He's that guy. Right? So you're going to sit there and say that, okay, Roman, sure. But Cody is the other guy, right? He's a solid number 2 in the number 1 wrestling company in the entire world. Now, he plays his character. I think he struggled a little bit because he still wants to be the humble shucks character, right? So he don't want to come out and say which I probably would have came out and said, I'm like, yo, man, it ain't your show no more. Right? He don't want to come out and say he don't want to be braggart. He's not a braggadocious character. To. That's not his character though, man. That's not his character. So he comes out and says in a way, yeah, man, it used to be your show. Right? But he's not The Rock. His personality isn't The Rock. It's not the Stone Cold. It's not even Bret Hart back in the day. You think about arrogance, you would really think about Bret Hart as being arrogant, right? But you listen to what the man was said, the best is, the best it was, and say that's some heel shit. Ain't nobody ever gonna be better than Bret, right? But that's not the way he played his character back in the day, right? Cody is not a cocky character, so he's never gonna come off that way. Now that's the struggle with his character. How can I show and exclude confidence in myself, right? Without bragging. He doesn't humble brag.
So then so Cody said to Roman's face, you were the man until WrestleMania 40, and I took this from you for the most part. He said those words. So then, in your opinion, do you think his delivery didn't land?
Yeah, the way he said it.
Should have?
He's kind of I was used to be until I took it at 40. Right? I would have preferred, if it was me, I would have came out with some bass in my
yes,
used to be, you know what I'm saying? But that's not his character. That's not the character that he plays. That's just is what it is. Right? I wish as a fan, I wish he would do a little something to shut the haters up, right? But at the same time, he got to do what brought him to the table.
All I'm saying is that the Homelander outfits looks a lot like Cody outfits when he come out, especially on the big shows. I'm like, that is just did you call him up and ask him for his outfit? Because they look a lot alike. And I see so much of Cody inside of Homelander. Cody be talking mad shit about us when he's not on TV.
Of course. For me, and I know I enjoy heels more than baby faces overall. But I mean, the top babies, I love the top babies though. Just in all promotions. When they do pull the trigger, because there's just no way, there is just way too much money. And this may be 5 years down the line. I don't know when, but there is just so much money in a heel Cody Rhodes, because the majority of wrestling fans have not seen heel Cody.
Right.
Cody was a heel in Ring of Honor and New Japan.
Right.
Not even really in AEW. He was pseudo heel in AEW, but even if you take AEW, right, you know, they have their nice size fan base, but it's nothing like WWE. Imagine a heel Cody in the Triple H era, in the Netflix era. Oh my God. Now you want to talk about money, E? I mean, he's printing money now. I think as a heel, he would be can't miss television.
So let me ask an impromptu question here. And I know it looks a lot different today than it did back 10 years ago, but John Cena never turning heel. Who would be more devastating to the fan base by turning heel? Cody?
What a great question.
Or John Cena?
Great question.
You got to kind of compare apples to oranges at this point because, again, the timeline.
So are we talking Cody right now in this moment compared to John Cena where? What part of his run?
When he had a different color shirt every pay-per-view. Yep, when he had a different color shirt at every pay-per-view. So when he switched up his color, he was the guy. He was the main guy versus Cody today.
My vote would be Cena. And strictly because that's all they had on top.
That's a good point.
Like you can play, and that's the fun part of how like everybody's super hot. Like, let's just say they turn Cody and it doesn't work. They got another 4 or 5 people that can kind of hold down the fort until you figure it out and maneuver those pieces. They didn't have that with Cena. I mean, we had Orton,
and Orton was
like
doing
legit. We had Orton, we had Taker to a certain extent. You had the Shield.
But that was toward the end, I felt.
You had Triple H.
He still was there.
Kinda, right? You had the Miz.
That's actually a good time. A lot of the 90, the Attitude Era guys were still there. It's a fascinating story. I can't remember who was talked about. I think it might have been Booker T, but he was just saying how at that time period you had the guys coming up, but you still had the guys before them that still were there to kind of help guide them into the transition.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your question too, I think that Cena, as far as of course back in the day, I want to see a Cena heel. I wasn't a fan of that, right? But I think right now, Cody will hurt. It will hurt. Okay, he's definitely their number one merchandise seller, but I feel like the separation between Cody, because we're gonna put Roman to the side, right? Because he's more of a special attraction. He's not there every week or even every quarter at this point. But I think there's more separation from Cena and everybody else versus Cody and the rest of them right now, right? I think there's Cody there at the top. I think probably not too much further down will be like the next crop of guys, like, like a Drew or, of course, even Punk, right?
Punk. Don't forget about Punk. Mm-hmm. Seth when he comes back. And then the other part they have it too is the women are much more popular now than they were during Cena. It's not like you can say Rhea.
Yeah.
You can say everything just went to shit with the men's. All right, Bianca, Rhea, Jay, Heat. We need over. You. Y'all, all right, this is y'all's thing until we figure out the other side. And I think they could do that. That was not a thing back then. And we enjoyed the women back then, but they were just bubbling when it comes to like the 4 horsewomen and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. I would probably agree too. I probably agree too. I just feel like and again, because I'm a John Cena fan and I'm not crazy about Cody. In that aspect, of course, I respect him for sure. We come on here, we joke and clown him and call him the B word. And I respect him and what he's done just for wrestling, just me as a pro wrestling fan and him help creating All Elite. But I feel like me personally, I would have felt I could saw myself stop watching wrestling if Cena turned heel. Like, although I had always asked for it, but in reality, if I was just this person who really loved wrestling for John Cena, the only person that I truly admired, turn his back on everybody and become a bad guy, I probably would have felt worse about Cena turning at the end of the day, now that we're on this side of his career.
Yeah, because you didn't have anybody to replace him with either.
Nope.
There was nobody ready.
No.
Cena told Roman to his face, I'm still here because you can't do your job. Man, Cena was giving it to Roman. Yep. Those 2 promos, God bless Roman.
But without that, we wouldn't get, exactly. We wouldn't got the Roman today.
Cena ate his ass up twice. All right, so now, guys, let's talk about, we getting this at Bad Blood.
Yeah, can I say one more thing though about the actual
Yes.
match? So the match on SmackDown, and I've realized I think the last time I felt this much about it was what I thought I would have felt at Blood and Guts. I keep talking about Blood and Guts. That should be on my bingo card. AEW Blood and Guts that was in Detroit. How great the match is without commercials. Now, for us that was watching on TV, yeah, it was in picture, but it still just didn't feel the same versus kind of like what I was hearing from you and Lil Matt as far as how y'all felt the show went. That's how I felt about this Cody and Solo match. I thought it was so incredible because there was no commercial breaks. And I know we can't get that all the time, but that to me and how I watch and consume my wrestling is a big freaking deal. And I just noticed that, like, wow, like my full attention was to that match. And I was just watching the match by myself. And I'm like, I love everything. And I wasn't on my phone. I watched the whole match because it wasn't a commercial break to break me to go look at my phone and do something else. I don't know.
They worked it like a PLE match.
Could be that too.
And you can tell, yeah, they didn't work it like a traditional because they weren't working for the commercial breaks.
Mm-hmm.
I was thoroughly. I mean, I didn't think the match would suck. I knew the match would be good because I knew this was kind of like Solo's final shot for now. So, and we knew when it was the opener, we knew what this whole thing was about. Like, we knew Roman was going to be on the show, something's going to happen in that final segment, et cetera, et cetera. They super exceeded my expectations. And of course, we come out here and just joke about Cody. Mm-hmm. Cody is, if it wasn't for Cody right now, WWE would not be doing as good as they're doing.
I agree with that.
So of course, everybody who listens knows that we just like to talk shit because it's fun. But I mean, I really enjoyed it. So I do want to maybe apologize a little bit to Solo because I was really, really down that SummerSlam match. And at the same time, too, we knew what that was for. That match was strictly to have Roman coming out. So maybe I'll go back and watch it. But I just remember doing the show. I was like, man, this match isn't good. And we know what we're getting at the end. But they made up for it on this one. Bravo. And also, too, this is the other thing I would say. You know, they're cutting house shows next year.
I heard about that.
I think they said they're doing 200 now next year, and then they probably plan on dropping them more and more as the years go by. They said that back when Vince was running the company, house shows were used to kind of get the word out about the company. And I think it was Ari Emanuel said, you know, yeah, we still have ways to go with getting the word out about WWE, but we're in a good space where we don't need to run extra shows to get the word out. We can run less shows and charge more for tickets because they're super hot right now. From a fan perspective, it sucks because tickets are already expensive right now. So if they go to even more of a hybrid pricing, we've seen it with all the other sports, NBA, NFL, they price out the regular people.
Yep.
But from a person who cares about the wrestlers, it's tremendous that they're not going to have to work every single weekend, bumping and feeding 3 times a week, 4 times a week. But I bring that up because you could tell the difference of Solo and Cody working house shows together for the last month or so, month and a half, compared to when they just worked first week of August. So yes, them getting rid of not as many house shows, we may be able to tell on TV at times. So that's the detriment part of it. But the positives are proof is in the pudding. I bet you that has a lot to do with it. They knew each other's timing a little bit more. They know what each other's going to do without even maybe speaking at times. It was just a really, really good match.
And you hope that maybe not with individual people, but hopefully the reps you're getting in NXT. And now that NXT is gonna be, are they're already live? This was the first week that everybody was on. So, right? Am I correct?
What do you mean everybody was on?
Wasn't everybody on USA? No. They're going to the UPN or CW. When is that official? Yep. When is that?
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
The show you'll be at. This shit, man. I just be buying these tickets, man, and she don't know what the hell be going
October
on.
1st, okay? NXT will be here. You made me.
Hey, you wanna fly down to Chicago, man, and go to NXT?
No, you know, he didn't want to go to Vegas. So no, he can't have my ticket. So
well,
no.
completely different price points of an NXT show and a WrestleMania show.
Point is, what I'm saying is hopefully they get the reps going through NXT, and NXT being on a bigger stage, you'll get kind of those reps in. But like you said, it doesn't replace the fact that I can actually get the reps with the person I'm in this feud and campaign with. Hopefully now with this less stress on the body, that can just overall, we can just see great performances out of them, knowing that they're not going to have to take years off of their life because they're working 300 days a year, which they aren't now, but back in the day they were. I do have one final thing too before we leave again. For anybody who watch, well, let me ask you this: have you watched X-Men 97?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll ask you too, and for anybody else who's listening, I guess I had this really high standard. I love X-Men, the original.
Well,
X-Men.
no spoilers because we're only one episode in, so start with that.
Okay.
Oh,
I'll say
wow.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
one episode in. And that was hard. So listen, I love X-Men. Like I would sit up here. Matt used to tell me to shut up because I think I was the Fire Maid Phoenix. I mean, I thought I was Storm. That's just who I am. I love X-Men. That was such a huge part of my childhood. After watching that first episode, I'm like, this ain't it, Chief.
Oh, okay, hold on. Stop. I'm not going to allow you to put me down like that and just say on this public platform, I told you to shut up and you just kind of skim past why I told you to shut up. Can you please explain to your audience what you would do anytime somebody brought up X-Men?
No, because y'all
No,
don't hear.
no, do it. You started it. You brought it up.
Stress of you bring in. You
brought it up.
Yeah, it's okay. So I'm rep it. I love the Phoenix, the regular Phoenix and the Dark Phoenix. I am the Fire Maid Flesh. I am the Phoenix. And it'll be dead in the middle of a conversation, and I'll just hit it. I mean, it might be kind of a Tourette's, maybe. Actually, now that I think about it, but that's how much I love X-Men. So legit,
she would do that anytime somebody brought up the X-Men, and then she would stand on top of, like, if she was on the couch,
everything.
She would stand on top of the couch, and she had a blanket on. She'd put the blanket on, and she'd throw it off. I'm like, what are you doing right now? And how old are you?
That's how much I love X-Men. I love all the X-Men movies that came out. I like the X1, X2, X3 United. So or X2 United. If I like those, you know how much I love X-Men, right? So does this X-Men 97 actually get better? Because this ain't it, Chief. On one episode.
Man, like, if you're a fan, how you go this long without watching the series?
Because we had to pay
we didn't have Disney Plus.
Oh, you had Disney Plus. Oh, son of a bitch. Well, hey, that answers that. Hey, I feel you, man. Look, he gonna have so many streaming services.
I'm getting hot.
That's for sure.
This is getting out of control.
But
right now,
you know what though? To answer your question, though, in all honesty, though, it does get better because when I think I watched the first 2 episodes, and you mentioned earlier, like, hey, I was watching SmackDown. I didn't have my phone, my tablet, whatever. I can't watch anything without having something else to do. Like you got to really grab my attention for me to stop and just. That's the only thing I'm doing. Only thing I do that for is anime because I have to read the subtitles, which that's why I get irritated. I'm like, damn, I actually got to sit here and pay attention to this thing.
Pay attention.
But yes, I would say for me personally, because X-Men 97, like that was like barbershop talk for a minute, man. We was in the barbershop and brothers talking about that show, and I'm like, okay. And then shouts out to Fonzie, other boy Reggie, they was hype on it, so I finally got into it. First episode, like, second episode,
first episode was trash.
And then all of a sudden, like the third episode, it just like explodes. Okay. It just catches on fire real quick. It's really good. We're gonna get a part 2 to this, but y'all hear the story about the guy who actually produced, like the main producer on this show?
Mm-mm.
No,
it's not a spoiler, is it?
He a bigger freak than y'all. I guess he was. Was sending, so they fired his ass because he was sending, I guess, new pics to dudes on the staff and saying inappropriate things. Yeah. He bought that life, and he was, I guess, grabbing on a little something, trying to shake a little something, and so I guess he just was an overall weird dude. So they just got rid of his ass, man. But maybe sometimes that weirdness is why we got such a hot season. So we'll see how number 2 go. But yeah,
okay.
You know what they say?
I'm looking to that.
Don't get your honey where you make your money.
Don't get your honey when you make your money.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Separate them. This is a perfect spot for me. And I still got to get to, hey, what's next? But our guy, Joe Davis on YouTube has sent us a message.
Shout out, Joe.
He said, he asked, he would love for us to talk about our number 1 favorite movies on the next episode.
I
had it for later, but this is a perfect segue because we were just talking about X-Men and all that kind of stuff. So do you guys have I know Rhodesia does, but
there they go. Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to bring up Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano this, Rocky Marciano that. He beat Joe Lewis's ass. Rocky Marciano was 87 years old when he fought. I don't care how old he was. He got his ass whooped. I'm hyped right now. I'm hyped right now.
Oh, okay.
That's another movie she'll go word for word, and I got to turn from. So I'm just like, okay, I don't need you. And then she's like always like 3 seconds early because she proud of herself because she knows it word for word. So it'd be different. She said it with it. No, she want to go like a couple seconds early. I turned off by like 18-minute mark. I'm like, all right.
Great movie though. Great movie though. I love
Incredible
that
movie. Classic.
It's the best.
Hey, you know the funny thing is, like back being a kid, like I remember the network version of the movie more than I remember like the actual censor. Like I forgot they actually had cursing and stuff in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. So when did Coming to America come out? Like 88, 89? Does that sound about right? 87?
Yeah, late
somewhere
80s,
around there. I remember the scene where they were washing Eddie Murphy up. As remember, old girl had
the royal
her breasts out. Yeah, but I remember I was watching around that age, and I was just like, "Yo,
yeah,
this is crazy."
But I forgot that happened. Becoming being an older man, because like I said I'm used to watching them popping up on 20 and 50 back in the day, right? You back in Detroit, we had channel 20, channel 50. So I barely remember that happened.
You got a favorite movie?
June 88. Sorry,
88.
I kind of feel like so I'm not a guy who watches movies over and over again. But two of my favorite movies that I can watch over and over again, and I've purchased them multiple times. Lost Boys, I think I mentioned that before, with the Coreys on there. One of my favorite movies, cult classic, and then The Goonies, another cult classic. Really love that movie.
I got a confession to make.
You didn't see any of them.
Never seen neither one.
Never seen any one of them.
You ain't never saw The Goonies?
I've never seen either one, man.
Oh,
and I know they both are like cult classics. To your point, are they worth me buying?
I don't know about The Lost Boys.
I never saw The Lost Boys.
I don't know about I enjoyed The Lost Boys. But like I said, that was one of the movies that didn't do well, during its time.
Okay.
But it blew up afterwards, right? I enjoy it. It's definitely an 80s piece. So, but The Goonies, absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's a family classic.
It is only $15 on an Amazon 4K. All right, I'm about to actually buy it now. Yep, I've never seen it. But you know what? Because I watch so much wrestling. So like as a kid, I was wrestling, sports, and like cartoons like Turtles. What other cartoons did I really watch? Of course, like He-Man, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I didn't watch like a ton of like movies. I just watched Back to the Future last year for the first time. I watched all of them and knocked them out. Loved them.
Wow.
But yep, Ghostbusters. Just watched them a few
those?
months ago.
Wow.
Loved them. Oh. So like, yeah, man, because think about it. I didn't have that much time if you're talking about, and then I played video games, right? So if I had any extra time, it was video games. I played sports. So I'm playing sports. I'm watching wrestling. Yeah, it just wasn't a lot of, and my family wasn't a big, like, go to the movies. Like when we went to Blockbuster Video on the weekend, I'm going to the wrestling section, right? So like they get their movies. I'm all in wrestling. So I just bought it. I just bought the Cody.
Hey, let's go.
Hey, let's go. I got to hear a review on the next show.
Yes. Anybody who's seen it, tell us. And then, actually, Joe, how you gonna ask the question and you didn't give your answer on your favorite movie? I don't have a favorite movie because as critical as I am with wrestling, I'm not that way with movies.
Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest.
So, like, if you were to be like, hey, break it down in decades, I could probably do that. But we watch a ton of movies now. Like, that is one of the things we do as a family is we consume movies. Same way we do wrestling, same way we do sports, things of that nature. But like we just watched Dune 2 last week. I thought that was tremendous. We just watched Mad Max Furiosa. Thought that was excellent. Favorite movies of all time? No. But definitely two of the best movies I've seen this year. And I would put them up against movies in the last few years or so.
You kind of got a favorite.
Maybe I would go Avengers Endgame. Because I remember we went to go see the movie like 3 times at the theater. I've never done that before. Now, if you want to talk like, so he gave a cult classic. Joe, back to the question you asked a few weeks ago. Now, if you really want to ask me, like, what movie I maybe have watched more than any other movie, Cash Money Baller Blocking. I used to have that on every day. Told him, man, he had me dying laughing. We was in a text, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And Brandon said he wasn't that big of a Cash Money guy until a couple songs. And he was like, man, whenever these just throw them parties, he get down to this Cash Money. He said, I'd be like, damn, another Cash Money song. Dude, Dude, them sets, I used to go like an hour with Cash Money. It's my bad.
No joke.
You wasn't a
No
big
joke. The
Cody
whole party.
fan.
Can we ask a spin on that question? But actually, I
Yes.
got another one for you. I think Life is one of your favorites.
Yes.
Life is one of your favorites.
Yep. I know that one word for word.
Mm-hmm. But let's do your favorite movie that you probably don't want to admit out loud is your favorite movie. And I'll go first because I watched this movie every single day, probably for 2 years straight, and I was already an adult. Spy Kids on tape, on VCR tape. So
Spy Kids?
Spy Kids. The
I like
original
Spy
Yeah,
Kids
but
back
say
in
no
the
wrong,
day.
Spy Kids.
Yeah, I like Spy Kids.
Okay.
I got one for y'all. Like, see, like I used to, as a kid, hung out with my aunts and my grandmother a lot, and so we used to watch the movies. And
Okay.
my aunt, she used to actually have like a huge. She used to record this. She would go to Blockbuster or wherever, and she would actually record the tape. So she had like a huge catalog of like movies. So I stayed, man. It's funny. I feel like I always tell my son, like, and I don't say it in a bad way, but I'm like, I feel like I was a little bit more mature at his age. When I was like 8, 9 years old, I was watching rated R movies, and I was watching movies sun up to sundown, horror movies, everything. But one of my favorite movies back in the day was Mannequin. I know if y'all ain't seen the other, if y'all ain't seen Google, I know y'all seen
Dude.
Mannequin.
That's the one where she
Mannequin
came
was
alive, right?
great.
Yeah, y'all saw that?
Oh, man. I ain't scared to say it.
Yes.
Man,
Love that
classic.
movie. I
5
love that
stars,
movie.
2 thumbs up, however you want to talk about it.
Okay, let's go. Yeah,
Man, I used to
love
watch
movie.
that. Oh my god! And I had a crush on her. So that
I thought
didn't
she
help.
was cute.
Yeah, I thought she was.
Yeah,
I thought she was
so
a beautiful woman, right?
Yeah.
She was in Sex and the City. You know, she looked pretty close to that back in the day.
Okay.
But yeah, man, she was like I felt like she was dropped Gwen. And then the idea of like this mannequin coming to life, like it was just the whole thing was just like another one actually. While we talk about it, this is a wrestling show. We talking about movies. But last one I got for y'all before you go, Matt. Like because it came on the other day and my kids was watching it. Tom Hanks Big.
Oh, man,
Oh,
classic.
wow, Matt loved Big.
Man,
That's probably
when
one
they
of Matt's
play,
favorite too. Yeah.
Yes, but
Yeah,
now you
yeah.
said that, Rhodesia.
Yeah, Big.
Actually, maybe my favorite movie. This actually may be my favorite sports movie of all time. A League of Their Own.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yep.
I like that too.
Yep,
Yep.
I got that in my cart too.
I didn't see that till I was an adult, but yep.
Yeah, I'll probably cry now when I see it. But see, I got real then.
Yeah, it did. It really
And then
did.
Madonna come with that song, "Used to Be My Playground," and you see the old ladies out there on the man. She hit you right in the feels.
Not like Armageddon though.
I've never seen Armageddon all the way.
Okay.
Oh,
Let's move. Let's get back to that.
We gotta get to wrestling. I know people want to listen to the wrestling, man, but wow, you gotta watch the movie one day.
All right, so we got to catch up on some movies. But anybody listening or watching, share it with us.
Your
Either hit
favorites.
us up
and
on
your
yep.
Scared to admit
That's
favorites.
FNW. Put it in the comments on YouTube, and we'll talk about that too. 'Cause we got some top 10 lists to talk about after we get through whatever y'all got for Raw. Before we put a button on Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, I think I have a feeling of how this is ending. Have you guys even thought that far? And if so, do you want to give your thoughts on what Bad Blood looks like and how that takes us to Survivor Series, et cetera, et cetera?
When Paul Heyman said they were in the third inning 25 years ago, I just said, all right, I'll just sit back and watch and buckle in. So no, I have no idea where this is going.
I don't, but after seeing Cody and Roman, like the Mega Powers Unite, I'm here for that, man. Like I'm here, like I'm a big Roman guy. Like I would love him to have a similar schedule he had a couple years ago. Like I don't need to see him every week or maybe every month. I would love to see more of him. But I would love Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes together, man. I'm here for that. I would love to see them have an uneasy alliance, just like Hawk and Randy did back in the day. And then that's how we get, match 3 at some point. I would love that. But when I'm watching, I'm like, man, I kind of feel like they're kind of entangled a little bit now. Not Jada Pinkett entangled, but it's kind of like, like
Shout out to August
Like-
Alsina.
because
Hopefully he's doing
Cody is getting deep into this, right? And I don't know what the next thing is for him, but I don't also know what would take him out of this, right? 'Cause I feel like the bloodline,
so good.
the bloodline problem ain't going away. I don't know if they're going to let him go away, right? Unless somebody pulls him out of it, that's a bigger threat than what's happening right now. But it kind of feels like the two of them are like in this. So I know there was like some talk a couple months ago, it was like, yo, I don't want to see Cody at War Games. But at the same time, he's been involved with the Bloodline and Roman Reigns for over 2 years now. It will kind of be fitting that, you know, he'll be part of the original Bloodline match going into the potential Bloodline match. We're still thinking of Hugalu or Tonga, whatever, Tala, whatever his name is.
Tala Tonga.
You know, he'll come back.
I thought we were going to get Tala Tonga at the end of SmackDown. That's what I thought the big reason why that was the main event segment. I thought we was going to get the debut of him.
Shit, we might see his ass on Bad Blood.
Yeah.
Possibly, right? So either I got so excited there because this is why, and you can just tell the thought they're putting into these storylines. What you just said about Cody. What's next for Cody? You could easily say what's next for Cody is a hell of a deep conversation with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton about why in the hell are you teaming with this guy that we've had your back for a year and his family, and now you're teaming with them. That could be what's next for him. I don't know. I was never big on wanting to see Cody with the Bloodline at Survivor Series. Probably even less now because we're getting this match at Bad Blood. This match at Bad Blood reminds me a lot of CM Punk last year's Survivor Series. And I talked about on the podcast how they gave us CM Punk and they didn't have to. And what I mean by they didn't have to.
Oh, that's when he stepped on Randy, right?
Yeah, they delivered.
We're
getting the return of Randy Orton. Had a great show before that, a great build up to Survivor Series. And oh yeah, here is CM Punk. That is really, to me, what this match feels like at Bad Blood. When you got Drew and Punk in this damn near 9-10 month build, you got Rhea and Liv, you got Damian and Finn, you got what's the other match? What's the other big match on Bad Blood? It was actually Bad Blood. I'm forgetting one right now. But
you said Liv and Rhea already?
Yeah, Liv and Rhea. I'm sure we'll probably get Gunther
Hell in the Cell
and Sammy. Yep. But there was no need for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns to team up. That is a main event match for a dog shit pay-per-view where you're like, all right, well, I'm here for the main event, but that's about it. That would have been something that would have been great at what show was he not excited about at all? Was it not Money in the Bank? Was it Money in the Bank?
It was Money in the Bank, but yes, but it was also another one.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. But that's that main event. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, was this a pivot? So now this is where, just real quick, I'll kind of take you where my mind went. They announced this week Saturday night's main event, December 14th in Long Island, New York. Oh man, and I got the feels when that promo video. Same thing, text thread. We were talking, and when it was rumored about Saturday night's main event, I said Triple H does history incredible. He's gonna do right by this show, make it a big deal. I didn't think we would hear that old music though. Got me right. And anybody who used to watch Saturday night's main event, that shit means something to us, man. When we heard that,
means something to me, man.
And shout out to my guy on Twitter, Joel McIntyre. We are on the same page. That's where you can do Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes 3. If you are trying to pop the biggest rating possible on NBC and make this Saturday night's main event a massive thing, that is your target for Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes 3. And then for my money, Rock appears at the end of that main event and there's a decision made. Whatever decision that is can lead us to the Royal Rumble. And maybe at the Rumble, we get Rock and Cody Rhodes. And then maybe Roman Reigns makes the decision at the end of that match, whatever that may be. And then at WrestleMania 41, we can either go with, at that point, we would go Roman and Rock. They don't want to do that yet, which I want that to happen. Because the other thing I thought about, too, was I always thought they were not going to have Roman and Jacob touch until it's time for them to touch. Jacob's in that match at Bad Blood. Oh. There was a thought of Roman and Jacob being one of the main events at WrestleMania 41 when you do Cody and The Rock. I don't know how you have them touch in October And if we're getting bloodline versus bloodline in November, and then there's still a reason for that match in April.
Good point.
That's what you can do. Set some viewership ratings. It's also going to be on Peacock. That leads you right into Netflix. Just 2 weeks later. It's there for us. But this is what I talk about when I continue to say how great WWE is right now. Because it seems like they think of everything around each corner and the stories just all make sense when it needs to make sense.
I think I'm going to go on a record right now and say this, though. Although I love what you said there. Cody Roman 3 to me kind of have, like, I feel that's like the finale. And I'm not ready for it. I don't think us fans is ready for it. I think, like E said, as far as the entanglement, they're like arch nemesis. Like, I think they are the Batman to the Joker. I think they're going to kind of always be that. And I feel like the moment that we get to that number 3, the rubber band match, like, to me, I feel like then that's the end of that. Almost kind of like how Endgame was when we got at WrestleMania 40. I don't know if I want that this soon. That would be incredible because everything you're saying that building up to it, and we know he likes to tell a story. He doesn't want to rush a story. He's okay with telling a story and take time, but he also likes to give us something right away. But I don't know if I want that right now because if you're talking about this is mid-September, that's what, 3 months from now?
2 months. Right?
I don't know. No, it's December.
3 months, yeah.
I don't know if I want that yet. Love it. And like you said, it all makes sense. But me personally as a fan, I just feel 3 is going to be it for them. And I don't know if I'm ready for that.
But you got to get Roman and Cody before you get Cody and Rock and before you get Rock and Roman. Absolutely.
I don't think it's needed right now. I think based on like the story, like there's bigger fish for Roman to fry at this point. But I like the story too. But by Roman and Cody, that's a Roman Numeral match right there. That's not something you throw on in a couple months just like that. Like that's a Roman Numeral. That's a WrestleMania match. That's another match that they can kind of infuse that we can sell. Another 500 million gate again at another big stadium. Like maybe around the world, like, right? Like they got a lot of big matches that they can happen right before that, but because they don't have to come to that. Like it'll be great if they can tell another story, right? Because they can be patient and tell a story of, maybe this time, maybe Roman Cody 3, they're not adversaries. Maybe they're frenemies. Like, right? Like this is like they could tell like a big story on top of stories, a layer of story another year or so from now, right? Because like they got big matches coming up potentially with Rock versus Cody, then Rock versus Roman, then Fatu. And we talk about how can we get Fatu and Jacob Fatu versus Roman again? Like, right, this version of Jacob Fatu isn't the big match for Roman. Because right now, Jacob is the guy that prays to Solo. So we talk about like, like the aura, right? And I didn't know that was actually a thing for people, right? Because we've been talking about it for a while on this show. But like, he has the aura, but he's like repressing it. So like when he's ready to explode and be that guy for the bloodline, that version of Jacob Fatu is going to be going against Roman, not this version. Like the ones that's going into Bad Blood, that's not main event Jacob Fatu. Not yet. We gonna get main event Jacob Fatu sooner than later, but the one we get at Bad Blood, that's not that guy, right? So when I don't know how it's going to get there to where he's going to be the guy, he's going to, because we talk about like who deserves a spot. Like right now, like this version of Jacob Fatu don't deserve the spot to be main eventing a WrestleMania with Roman Reigns, because we know his history. Well, actually, I want to be honest with you, I don't know. I know his reputation. Like I haven't seen a lot of his matches. I've seen a couple of clips of his video. I know what he could potentially be capable of, but I haven't seen it at a high level yet. And this audience also has not seen it yet, right? So what they got to do is they got to build him up to be what needs to be made for WrestleMania. And I have full-fledged know they're going to get there with it, right? But he's not there yet. He's not cooking yet. But eventually he will be, and it'll be very interesting what kind of story they can tell, right? Because we are thinking that Rock is the mastermind behind all of this, right? So Solo has come up with a couple L's back to back, Like, right? And the reason why Roman ain't where he is because he wasn't getting the job done. Well, guess what? Solo hasn't gotten the job done twice in a row. He done took some L's. Like, right? We already starting to see Jacob, kind of being thrust in the spotlight. So whenever Rock appears, maybe he comes back and like, yeah, Solo, we had your time, man. Step back, Jacob, step up. And then that's when Jacob Fatu explodes into, main event Jacob Fatu, the threat to Roman Reigns and the potential rival at WrestleMania.
Well, you may just book the territory, and then that's when you bring Tonga to replace
Jacob?
Solo. No, to play Solo. Solo goes back to his brothers and the Roman.
Mm-hmm.
And if we wanted to fast track that, if you even consider that being fast track, because what did Solo say the night after and the Friday after WrestleMania? There's consequences to losing.
For losing. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
E, to your point, Solo's lost twice.
Yep.
There's consequences to losing.
And this time it was clean as hell, right?
Yep.
Fresh as
Beat
baby's
down
ass.
Solo, send him over to Jimmy and Jey and Roman. There's 4. Tonga Loa, Jacob Fatu, Tonga. There's 4. That could be your War Games match in November.
Whoa, that'd be quick.
It would be quick, but it would make perfect sense.
It would make perfect
if they wanted
sense.
to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So much fun, man. Like we could, and the thing about it, and I say this all the time when it's anything related to like Bloodline or like Cody and Roman and Cody or Rock, we could talk another 3 hours about this. And that's just like, we still ain't talking about when Heyman's coming back.
Mm-mm.
We ain't got to Heyman yet.
Mm-mm.
We haven't got to how is Jey Uso going to lose to Bron Breakker next Monday, where he's protected and he's available for Survivor Series. Like, I see some people just saying, like, that's the match where the Bloodline's going to jump Jey. Jey been minding his business.
Mm-hmm.
I would hate that if all of a sudden Tonga Loa and they just show up on Raw to beat up Jey Uso. That wouldn't make sense. Everything has made sense so far. It has to make sense. If this match was at Bad Blood, I would give Jey like a little small percentage of winning. And it's not even about he doesn't deserve to win. We're huge fans of Jey. But I always said they were protecting him for what's coming in November. But we're damn near here now for War Games. So don't put the IC title on him if he's in for a major piece to the puzzle of Bloodline versus Bloodline. But that's going to be interesting to see how they get out that match.
As a payoff to Jey, there could be a world where he's back in the Bloodline and he's the IC champion. He doesn't have to not hold a singles title. Because again, I'm at that point. If he does lose, you got to make sure like you protect him in every way, shape, or form you possibly can. Because if you don't, I'm gonna be like, oh, there you go again. I told you that before. I'll be on the LA Knight energy. There is a world where he could still be the champion. He doesn't have to not have a championship to be part of the Bloodline. I think that probably actually will make his stock a little bit higher when he is now going to be in the same ring with Roman. Because again, the same thing, how Roman kind of outshines other people. Maybe you can have this title on Jey to make him even bigger or appear bigger than Roman.
And my argument would just be but you also then just dismiss Bron for no reason. You don't hurt Bron when Jay's about to be in something way bigger than the Intercontinental Championship. Even though Jey did say he was going to wall dog his ass on Monday. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
He got real. Whenever you bring up Jay's family, he lock in.
So let me ask you guys a question, because you guys have been down on Jay's run and his overall promos. What did you guys feel about that promo?
Don't do that. Don't say Raw. You guys. You have to. We all want more from Jey.
No, not me. I'm good with the
You
Yeet
ain't
man.
good with the Yeet man. Get
I'm
out
great
here.
with them. I've been talking.
Rewind these podcasts. You
please do, man. See, I need.
You have
more,
said.
I need y'all to actually listen to what we talk about on these podcasts.
You say you want more for him. You say you want more for him.
You two want more. I'm good with. He's making more money he's ever made.
No, you just gave a great.
How much higher can he be?
You just gave a great scenario either last week or 2 weeks ago about how he needs gold. He needs the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah. So we all agree that we want him to have more.
But I mean, as far as like you think like he's eating too much and things of that nature,
I
feel like
he's crazy. Yeah.
I feel like the character itself is fine. However, right? He did the yeet, but he also switched gears in that promo with Bron right?
Yes,
He got a little bit more serious, right?
Yes, sir.
Say, I'm a dog walk your ass. Come bad
Yes,
blood.
sir.
Right. Great promo, great energy from Brian. But like I said, you guys have been kind of down on his promo and the kind of direction of his character. So I was interested what you guys thought on Monday Night Raw.
His first promo backstage, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this is terrible. I see now what Rikishi is saying, Big Keish talking about. So your only gimmick now is being the love interest of Rhea. I'm like, fudge. It was terrible. But then, so when he came back, when he actually came out to the ring and had his interaction with Bron,
He had his erection. Damn, Keish was right. He is turning just a sex man with Rhea.
It's a racial marriage. Listen, but when he came out to the ring, and then it started off where he was like, because Bron said whatever he said, and he was like, oh, okay, I kind of believe you. It was kind of getting goofy again. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just more continuation of what I just saw backstage. Oh no. And then you're right, he turned it on and he was like, well, let me tell you something, brother. And then he went on his whole thing. So I love that he did that, because where I was like, Jey is just this goofball caricature of himself. But when he came out and at the end of that promo, I'm like, no, he let it be known. I'm cool. I'm still a oos. I'm down with people. I'm cool with people, but don't get it tangled and twisted. So A+ to how that actual promo went. But that first one wasn't it.
I enjoyed everything that Jey did, because you got to have the yin to the yang, right? Like, he's as big as he is because of the yeeting. So you're not going to go away from that. But all I ask for is, when it's time to get serious, let him get serious. And he got serious. Yep. So I loved it. I mean, they sold me. Once again, super surprised it's not happening at Bad Blood. It's happening on Raw. But hell, we just talked about it a month ago. They're keeping these PLEs condensed so they have content for regular TV. Think about that, though. I mean, I know we always just go back to like years ago, which one day will stop, but they're giving this match away on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah,
this would have been, I mean, no, it's for the Intercontinental Championship, so it probably would have been an opener on a pay-per-view back in the day, but this is something that legit you could put third, fourth from the top on a pay-per-view right now. We're getting it as a main event on Monday Night Raw. So
that's because they made those characters mean something.
Yes, sir.
Like, right? Because we weren't getting that when Dirty Vince's era. Like, these dudes wouldn't have meant shit. But what I know you mentioned, like, hey, how can Jey take another loss, right? Which I don't think they should. I think they need to go ahead and put the belt on him, let him be the defending champion, and he can go into Bloodline eventual entanglement like with as a champion. Right? He don't have to go in there not doing shit and just to get into that. He can be a guy that's been standing on his own the entire time, and then he made the decision to help out family in need, right? Because Big Keish just recently said, "Hey, stay prayed up for Jimmy," right? Like, right? Like, he told me, "All right, cool. I got you."
What was that about?
I have no idea, but I got you, Dad. I'm with you, right? So you think about it, Jey is still, like going back to the segment that Rhodesia talked to, which talked about. I didn't mind. Actually, I liked how he kind of played it, kind of cool. If anything, you can question the way Rhea's kind of playing, because she seems like she's smitten with this man, right?
She's absolutely smitten with Jey.
Big time, yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's smitten with it, right? So like, as soon as he popped up on camera, right? As soon as she popped up on camera, like, right? Jey didn't acknowledge her first, right? It's almost like he kind of like had to say hello to Dad first. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, Damien, hey, how you doing, boss? Blah, 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 blah. Then he looked over at mommy, like, mommy, right? You know what I'm saying? The kid like, yo, what's up, whatever, right? But he had to talk to Dad first. I like that, but that again, using the word again, entanglement is still there, right? So maybe the Judgment Day, right, come out there and they cost him his match, because I feel like
it's going to happen, yeah.
Yeah, I can see like another mixed tag, right? We've already had a mixed tag with the Terror Twins, but Jey is involved with this Judgment Day thing for a reason. So I can definitely see a world where they come out. I'm with you. I don't necessarily want to see the Bloodline randomly, take Jey out to involve him. I would like to see Jey, as a man stands on his own, join the fight on his own, not because somebody bumped into him or whatever. He decided like, yo, this is family. I'm gonna take a side trip. I'm gonna take care of family business. Then I'm gonna go back to doing what I'm doing.
But even that, like how they've thought that through. I don't know how I missed that. You're right. Judgment Day is going to cost them the belt. But okay, so months ago, let's start this whole thing with Jey and Rhea kind of doing their thing, but not really doing their thing at all, just to lead us to Jey Uso gets a Intercontinental title shot against Bron Breakker to lose by Judgment Day interference. Right, that's something they may have had mapped out like legit 5 months ago. But like the stories are already like set. And the other thing I really enjoy seeing too is like, I was watching Rhea and I was watching Liv last night during the main event. I think it was the main event segment or on Raw Monday. And they own whatever they do. So I came out like a few weeks ago. I talked about like Rhea just owned her entrance. When she was playing supporting cast to Damian Priest during his entrance, she owned it. When Liv was playing second fiddle to Dom for his entrance, she made his entrance. Dom didn't do much but give a couple of hillish looks, but she was smitten by him, and the eye contact and the kissing on the cheek and the forehead. It was just like, it was really, really awesome to see, like, when these performers are dialed in to themselves, how they can be even better supporting people. Like, you watch Bianca when like Jade is the main person for a set promo segment or a set match. She owns that. And I love to see that. One thing I got to ask you about, E, I'm going to ask you to make sense of this. And you can't just give me it's the New Day and positivity. Okay, I'm going to ask you to make sense of this. Speaking of Judgment Day, they got a story they want to tell, evidently. Odyssey Jones be damn or not. They're going to tell this story of the New Day, whatever this story is going to be. And I'm here for it. But I do have a question, and this is more like tongue in cheek. But once again, if we give shit to one said company, we got to give shit to the other said company when they do something really bad. So let me make this make sense. Kofi Kingston asked for LWO help because he knew Judgment Day was going to interfere in their match. If that was the case, why the hell did Kofi Kingston jump off the top rope and take out the entire LWO to the outside?
They had to catch him.
Oh my God.
Can't follow that.
Oh boy. What else y'all got from Raw?
I don't think this was Raw. I was on SmackDown. KO. I think he's my number one favorite wrestler of this year so far. Just how amazing he was when he talking about Ricky and how Ricky was the only person. He even tell the crowd, "Hey, this is all I can find as a tag team partner, y'all. That's all I got." And then was it Alicia Taylor coming in and saying, "Actually, someone's here. He's here." And he's stunnering him. It was just so KO-ish. Like, KO to me is like my spirit animal. If I was a wrestler, a little heavier, maybe a little older, I'd love to wear a cutoff t-shirt.
Who's the heavier one and who's the older one? You?
Probably both.
That's crazy. And then how you would come out and say he's like your number one wrestler? Was he on your top 10 list just last episode?
No. But I said that he was. I said Drew. It was 11, and then he was my 12. KO
so he jumped from 12 to 1 because he stunned Ricky.
Just because KO is he is just like the most logical, makes sense wrestler. Like, I mean, he watches wrestling. That's all I can say.
Hell of a gimmick, man. It's an
amazing.
Gimmick.
It's so amazing. So he is my number one.
Rhodesia, was that the last thing on SmackDown?
Yeah.
Oh no, she got something else. Don't you worry.
On SmackDown?
She got something else.
Oh, I got something else on SmackDown?
I'm sure you do.
No, all my SmackDown is done.
You'll find it.
That was it.
So, it's not SmackDown. SmackDown is done there.
I gotta tell you guys, I felt like that CM Punk promo on Monday was like the best promo he's cut in years. And I like the promo for the simple fact that it wasn't that shoot promo where, he's kind of like with the insider winks and, he's like talking what he was doing. That was the classic, I'm going to talk you into the building type promo. Like, he upped the stakes that when Hell in a Cell comes, like, he's going to, this is going to be it. Like, one of us is going to be taken out on stretcher on this one. I love like the inflection in his voice. I love the low tone. I love that he didn't have like those little insider bites in there. It was strictly about the match. It was strictly about I'm coming to get you, and it's going to be a problem come Bad Blood. I thought that was the best promo he cut in a long time.
So give me a if you had to, or if you can't give me a time frame, give me the last promo that he's cut that you. Because while I think the promo was really, really good, promo was great. I'm not going to remember the promo this time next year. I remember some of the promos he cut with MJF. Of course, I remember the pipe bomb promo. I remember the second promo he cut when he came back when he was on SmackDown. Remember, he started by saying, they're not cutting me this time. So I get what you're saying. I thought the promo was great. Yes, if you weren't sold on Hell in a Cell, you are sold now. He hit all the major points. I'm willing to die in this ring. I'm going to make you bleed. And of course, that gets me every time because, like, now you're guaranteed the blade. Love it. I just don't think that we're going to go back and look in his run and the end and say, man, you know what? Promo was really it. That Drew McIntyre promo before Hell in a Cell.
I gotta tell you, like, for me, like, I'm a promo guy. I like character work, but there's not a lot of promos that I can really say that are like I can remember. Like, right, the pipe bomb definitely was it. You know, Dusty Rhodes and Hard Times promo, like those iconic promos were there.
Who told you it was open mic night, bitch?
But you know,
like, you know Brandy's promo.
I know Brandy's, right? That was a different type of promo, right? This is coming from her, which is why I need the queen on my TV as well. But for me, like, you know, like a good promo doesn't necessarily be a legendary promo. And I'm not saying it was a legendary promo. I said it's one of the best promo he's cut in quite some time because of that very reason. Because I think the point of a promo is, sure, you want to pop the audience and, you know, you want to be memorable, but it also is to talk people into the arena and get people hyped and excited for a match. And I think that did that for a lot of people. Because I've been fine with the actual feud. I like Drew. I like Punk. But I think this is the first time in a long time to where I was like, damn, I want to see the next match. I definitely want to see a winner to this match, and I want to see them on pay-per-view. I haven't felt like that really since their entire like program together, even though I've been fine with it. I haven't been as down on most people, but I'm definitely interested in seeing that match. And I like that, you know, I don't want to say it's easy for someone to use like the insider stuff and to make, you know, it takes like some real life jabs and bleed, like, but that was straight storytelling and character. Like, he's in the moment. Yeah. He's in the moment, in that character, in that situation, right? And he made it personal and made somebody believe. I love the work that went into making that promo. And, you know, he didn't do the classic tropes. He did, like, say, it wasn't insiderish. He wasn't cursing, right? He wasn't, you know, but bust out the F-bombs or the S-bombs or all the things you would imagine to get a pop. He didn't do none of that. He talked in
screaming, hollering, spitting.
He wasn't hollering. It was very matter of fact, calm, like, but yet like fierce demeanor to it. And I loved it.
So, you know, it's a psychological thing. When you talk lower, you grab people more attention.
Jake Snake Roberts.
They have to hear you.
Jake Snake Roberts.
He
ain't dead. I was about to say rest in peace. I'm trying to kill off Jake the Snake.
Scott Hall said the same thing. He got that from Jake the Snake Roberts.
It's a fact. It's a psychological thing. So y'all listening?
Yep.
That was CM Punk's best promo I've ever heard.
Hey, let's go.
I said that there was no playing around. He was to the point. I actually feel like they are going to kill each other. When he went in there and said, I'm willing to die in this ring. It's something about that talking in a low voice, because you got to hear him. You got to listen. You got to pay attention.
You got to pay attention.
Yep. That was, and of course I'm probably full of hyperbole, but as far as like that, my biggest note of all of Raw, because I still had something left on SmackDown. I'm joking. On Raw was the biggest thing. CM Punk shows range of personality. Talked in low volume. Amazing.
Look at you, the range of personality. Change that men's theme song.
Yep.
From code of personality to range of personality.
There you go. All right, so I can go back to hating him. So let me talk back regular. That was it.
But this is pros doing pro shit.
Yeah,
that's what this is, man. Like you said, like I haven't been this excited to see, but you shouldn't. This is it. This is the climax. This is when you should be as the most invested that you've been. When it was Punk and Seth and Drew, I think leading up to Mania, maybe, and we were talking about how great that promo was, and I think I said that's pros being pros. That is mandatory script they was handed. They're out there. You guys got X amount. Yeah, you got bullet points we're going to hit, but y'all got this amount of minutes. Go make it work. Go make some magic happen. So that's what, you know, I'm happy to see just where we are just overall with WWE, but that's just another example of go out there and let people's strong suits go through. It's simple, man. Set up your people for success.
But even talking about promos, I'm not sure if we're leaving this or not, but just even I have my next set of notes here was when Bron was talking about Jey, how he said he got over without using his family name.
Ooh,
and I
like
just remember,
I enjoyed that.
When he first came out a couple years ago, even you and I had this conversation about that and how he could use this later in life, that he didn't take the last name, and he's gonna get over just based off of what he brings to the table. And it's just so funny me seeing this 2-3 years later, like that's exactly what he said, and it was important because again, this is me. I need my uncle. I need my daddy. This is me. So I thought that was a really powerful one.
You know what, Rhodesia? I thought that was a nice line too. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, well, you know, his last name ain't really Uso. It's like, right? Like, it's like at the same time.
I was thinking of Scott Steiner in that point. Okay, got it. Rikishi Uso.
Like, right? Like, yeah, like his daddy's name is Rikishi. Like, they don't use Fatu. But no, but like, I know, I get what he was saying. Like, right? Because like they don't really play up the lineage with Bron, like, right? Like they do with the Usos. But when he said it, like I'm like, his name's Uso, but his real name's Fatu. But I get it.
Did anybody? I haven't really been on X this week. Did anybody check Rikishi's timeline when Bron said that to see what Keish said about it?
Nope. The only thing I saw about Keish was him saying,
Keish been kind of quiet.
Pray for Jimmy. That's all I.
Yeah, pray for Jimmy.
Keish ain't really. Yeah, okay. Keish ain't talking no more. They definitely put the muzzle on Keish. He ain't booking the territory no more.
So he was
really
doing
a whole lot.
Keish
doing a whole lot right now. Like, well, I hoped it was like just Big Keish being Big Keish, and I hope Jimmy is good. You know, he. Well,
Sean Ross Sapp said he reached out and he was told that Jimmy's fine, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, but he should have. He should have said something else after that. Like you're putting fans in a. If you guys don't know, Rikishi tweeted out earlier today, like keep Jimmy in your prayers. You know, prayer hands emoji. You know, hashtag, et cetera, and that was it. But so we don't know what's going on with him. We just know that like he's allegedly okay. Yeah. So I don't know if it's something personal or what, but you gotta be better than that. Like I
know everybody.
If you're going to share,
right.
you don't need to share everything. Yeah. But don't do that.
Just because y'all had a lot of death in your family. Yeah. And the first thing, pray for strength for Jimmy. Keep him in your prayers.
You think somebody died?
What's happening?
Like somebody like is in a hospital. Like you think the worst.
I don't want to put that negative energy on
He may be
Jimmy
just saying pray for Jimmy that he don't get stuck with a horrible
in the bad storyline. That's what I'm hoping it was.
What he's thinking.
You're like, hey man, look, hey, they you see what they got Jay going through? Like, oh Lord, pray for Jimmy. Yeah. Pray for Jimmy.
If they doing this to Jay, imagine what they doing to Jimmy.
But I got two
last. That's the case.
I got two last things on Raw, guys. Number one was they kind of dropped this bombshell kind of quickly and almost in passing. But and I like the segment when Finn Balor was talking to Rhea. He's like, yeah, I just want to let you know to your face that I broke you and Dom up. I told him to get on that hot belly and do your thing. I said that, girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like that was kind of a bomb. They kind of dropped real quick and kind of quickly went off on it. Like, man, like Finn's been a mastermind behind this for the whole time. I thought that was very interesting. And then going back to the New Day, we briefly touched on it. Like Xavier said, like, yo, something got to change. Something got to change. What's going to change? What's going to happen next? I think it's very interesting. I thought overall Raw, from a storytelling perspective, is one of the most intriguing Raws I've watched in quite some time. Like, I almost had to look back. Like, damn it, was this 3 hours? Yeah. Because when I watched it, I'm like, from bell to bell, aside from the Natty match, I thought the entire show was really good. And just, as I said too, but last one, that Bianca and EO match. Really good match, man. Like especially that last sequence.
Yeah.
Come on.
I forget about it, man. Like this this is how you do great TV, and no one got punctured in the mouth with a syringe or a bag
don't do
over their
that.
head.
Don't do that.
Like
Don't do
this
that.
was a really good show.
He does it though.
That
Good
match,
job.
boy. It started off for me. It started out just a little too cute for me. It was a little too much flipping, and it was just a little too much of that, where you could just tell like it was choreographed.
Mm-hmm.
But when they hit it. I was super surprised by the finish. I don't know what I thought. I didn't really, when I was watching, I didn't go into it saying like, oh, this is what I would do. I wasn't expecting, I don't know, maybe I wasn't expecting Bianca to lose clean. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that.
Yeah.
So I like legit popped when EO won. I thought that match was tremendous. Real quick, E, so before you talked about the New Day thing, you had talked about Judgment Day. My bad, Ghost Ronnie. We missed this. This was from a couple episodes ago. And he said, I have a question. How would you feel if Anderson and Luke Gallows went to the Judgment Day? And when I first saw that question, I'm like, absolutely not. Just because they're, not to say I would be like gung-ho about it, but they do need some heaters in Judgment Day. When they were in that final promo, I think it was a backstage promo, and I kid you not, I was just looking at them. Oh, it was when Dragunov, and they were talking to Dragunov.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, right now Finn Balor is the menace in this group, and everyone else is jobbers.
Well, Rhea even called the other two like weirdos.
They need some heavy hitters. Is the answer Anderson and Gallows? I don't know, but I'm much more high on it being something they would do after just seeing that. Cause I'm just like, okay, what are we doing? Like, Finn is great to be the head guy, but he can't be your muscle too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need some bigger guys who can strike fear. Like, we need some of that. And they don't have that yet. But what's your guys' thoughts on Ghost Ronnie's question?
E, did you mention that a while ago, or was that something to do with the Final Testament that you thought was going over to Judgment Day?
Yeah, I said, what if I actually said, drop Carlito and maybe move Dom to something else and bring in like the OC, AJ and Gallows.
So you did bring that then. Okay, I thought I
yeah.
remember you saying something like that.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. Finn is now the leader, right? Even though the whole thing is they beat them up because they didn't have a leader, right? But we know that he's going to be the leader figure. You can't be the leader and be the muscle at the same time in a group. So am I interested to see the two of them, the Good Brothers, come in? Maybe not, but what else do we have? So I'll be open to it.
So they add the Good Brothers, right, to the current group, keep the numbers. I feel like it's a lot of the dudes. And when there's that many dudes in a faction, like some of them just kind of stand around, right? And so like in some ways, like JD already kind of does that. Carlitos kind of just stands around. Liv and Dom are doing their thing. But as you said, like none of them are menacing on their own. I feel like they might be kind of like a pack of like hyenas, right? Like I feel like one of them ain't that big of a deal, but and as a pack, they could be fearsome. But I think if you add this the OC to that, like they're already jobbers, man. Like they ain't. Hey, them dudes ain't did nothing in the past 10 years they've been in that company. Like, right, they gonna come over there, they gonna get jobbed out just like the rest of them. Like, I like the two of them dudes. They're not menacing by themselves, right? I feel like the idea that I had originally was with them coming onto the group with AJ's is just the Bullet Club, the original Bullet Club type feel that they would have, right? That would be cool. Just bringing them to that group, like they jobbers, like they ain't striking the fears, like fear in nobody's heart. They got a weak ass finish. Like, have somebody else do it.
Well, you said, Matt, you feel like you will be open for it. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, because they need some heaters.
Yeah. Okay. I actually had a question for y'all about Judgment Day, and I was like, wait. Then there's another question to it. Then there's another question. So it's a 3-part question. So on Raw, this was the first title defense that they actually had since winning it back since June 24th. So September 16th. Was the first time they defended those titles. I got 3 questions here for you. 1, did y'all know that? 2, do you care? And 3, is that a good thing or a bad thing that your tag champions didn't actually defend for 3 months?
I mean, shit, Roman Reigns didn't defend for the whole goddamn year. It's
You watch them
fine.
off.
Yeah, stop doing blasphemy here.
I'm
So
just
first one,
saying.
did you know
Roman's
first
back
question
to
was
make Cody relevant. You watch them
first question is, did you know that it has been 3 months? 2, do you care? And 3, do you think it's a good or bad thing?
I don't know if I knew, but I
Mhm.
don't care,
Mhm.
and it's fine. Roman set the stage for everybody, man. We only got to defend once a year.
I got a yes, no, and it's horrible.
And I think I know what you mean why it's horrible, but to see if you and I are on the same plane of thinking, the reason why I think it's a bad thing, it was 1, I did not know it was that long. 2, I guess maybe I didn't care because I didn't know it was that long, but I think it's a bad thing because then that championship titles could have elevated somebody else. So if you're telling me that you haven't defended it since June 24th when you won it, that could have been on somebody else.
There ain't no tag team, sweetheart. That's why it's a horrible thing. Ain't no tag team. That's
gonna
why they
say,
have
like-
defenders.
I was gonna say, like, yeah,
Yeah.
man. Even
Yeah.
on SmackDown, when we talked about, I know, Matt was like, "Yo, let's split them up. Let's split them up." I'm like, man, they ain't got enough tag teams on these shows to split up these titles. Like, to be honest with you,
Yeah, as much as we always put over WWE, that's one of the things that is lacking a little bit. But they go in spurts because when Ciampa and Gargano had it really quick and they had that incredible video package, we was like, oh man, tag team wrestling is back. And then they put the belts on the Bloodline and it's like, oh, okay, cool.
but you know what? Them
But-
them teams ain't over.
Right.
Like right? Even like the Profits are the Profits, right? But DIY, they didn't really get over with that audience. I can't like, hey, look, the Lucha Brothers, whenever they come in, like it seemed like they're coming to the company. Like, man, like
And they said main roster too.
They ain't enough.
Mhm.
But look, they ain't enough though. Like,
Well, yeah, you need more than just one tag team for sure.
They need to hire at least another. Well, shit. Motor City Machine Guns are on their way up, right?
Yep,
but they're
that's true. But they're
it sounds
going to
like they're NXT bound, right? So I mean, they got, that's a start, like, right? If they're bringing those guys up, but I don't know if the Motor City Machine Guns would resonate on the main roster. To be quite honest with you,
You know
I
what
would
you
hope
do?
so.
You know
but
what
I
you
would
do,
like
E?
to. What's that?
Ricky Starks, Garcia, Danny, make them a tag team. Have
Yeah,
them come in. Because Starks is out of here. And you see
Wait,
the
Danny,
rumor. No, he has not re-signed yet.
Mm.
And he's absolutely interested in him. It's be interesting to see what he is thinking. My assumption is, and it's not an assumption, I am sure I am really right on this. Money's going to be there regardless. Wherever he decides to go, money's going to be there. What he needs to be weighing is creative and placement. That's what he needs to be weighing.
And we talking about Danny.
Yes.
Got it.
If he's happy with where he's been, God bless. Sign with AEW. If he's not, it's okay to leave, man. And he would be much bigger than he is right now.
You think
I don't know
so?
what his ceiling would be in WWE yet. I know Triple H is high on him. I know he'll be bigger than what he is now. He would be consistently, not storyline wise, but character. He would be as big as he was when he was feuding the first time with Chris Jericho, when it was the whole thing about pro wrestler versus sports entertainer. That's about where he would be at consistently. And he was one of the highlights of the shows.
He needs if money isn't an option, right? Like, so like if Tony Khan pays him, and I think you have to overpay him. If the money's there, and I don't know how much money he's made on his first deal and how much money he's made over the past 6 or 7 years. I know he's a young guy, but if Tony's gonna give him a bag, you gotta take the bag, man. He's young, right? He's still in his mid-20s. He can take that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he can take that. If he gets that bag from Tony, he still has an opportunity in his 30s to come to WWE if he wants to. But if money is close, I definitely, if I'm him, I would advise him to go WWE, because I think that learning in the system, because I think he'll be NXT bound, and I think he can benefit. Because he can go in the ring, we know that. But I think some of the psychology and just working with Eshaun and the team down there would take him to another level, right? which would take his already great ring work to another level, and then he'll get that WWE polish and shine. So I'm definitely I say, hey, go to WWE, learn a new move, get that polish, right? And then in his 30s, he can always come back. If he leaves AEW the right way, which I'm sure he will, he can always be welcome back, right? He'd be a bigger star if he were to come back to the company.
I don't know how I feel about that. Ricky Starks for sure. But Danny, I mean, I guess you gave me something new to look at as far as like the character part of it, and I can see what you mean by that. But I don't know if I feel like he will be better in WWE. Again, outside of what I said, I think anybody coming to WWE can be better because they have the machine behind them. But like best fitted for him, I don't know if I necessarily agree as far as his ceiling. Like I think he could be higher in AEW on the card than he could with WWE because there's just so many people at the top in WWE.
Think about this though, Rhodesia. Like, think about where he's been for the past 5 years. He's been kind of stagnant. Like,
For
right now
sure.
he just had the MJF match, but he's been pretty stagnant. Think about what NXT has done for like Ethan Page.
For sure,
Right.
gave him the title in the first month of being there.
Like he hasn't been featured this much on TV like in the whole 4 years he was in AEW, right? And like Ethan Page is a talent, but I think that there's more upside in a Daniel Garcia, versus Ethan Page, right? I think Daniel has some personality, and I think for as far as an in-ring worker, I think it's more for him to work with. I definitely think he can shine in the environment.
Yeah, buddy, he can go in
now.
the ring.
Now, Rhodesia, I think that you might be right, like how he would do on the main roster, like, right? But that's why I think that if he were to go to NXT, he can kind of learn, something from a character standpoint to make him stand out more if he were to go to the main roster at some point.
I just think it's more clawing to get to the top in WWE for a Danny.
Oh, well, no, I don't think he's gonna be a top guy. I don't think that. I think he's gonna be placed. He's gonna be a bigger star than he is right now. And when I say top guy, that's not a slight on him. No. I'm just saying, good luck getting to the main event right now in WWE proper, right? Like Cody's there for years. I mean, like we ain't gotta go down. We know who's there. Right. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean. You mentioned you wanted to talk about the AEW TV deal that has not been announced yet, but it should be coming any damn like day or week now. What in particular do you want to talk about?
Well, it's like we finally get some good news for AEW. I don't have the actual notes in my face, but again, it's just rumor and speculation at this point. But it looks like they are getting a 3-year guaranteed deal, $170 million a year, for their programming, right? So that's huge. I think they have a 4th year, but it's an option. I believe that 4th year is probably a network option.
It is
right. It would make more sense for them, but they also have the green light to potentially shop more original programming. They have the copywritten AEW Shockwave, so we might get a 4th show from AEW on another network. Rumors are Fox or S1, so that's more money for them. But what do you guys think about the potential new deal or the rumors of the new deal? I mean, of course, we always want them to get their money. But what are you guys thinking about the new deal in total, in general?
Doing that calculation, that's $500 million. Bravo. If they can get that based off of how much we talk about them disparagingly because we're coming from a place of love, then bravo. Get that money for sure. I thought at least in this last 6 months that kind of just their sales at the venues. I don't keep up with what they do for buy rates for pay-per-views, but I just thought that they would be going into the other direction. Like maybe they don't have enough to negotiate with to get a big payday like that. But you're talking about over $500 million for 3 years. That's pretty damn impressive. So bravo.
And that's what that was my point when we do. Sometimes we do the ratings talk, and that was my point. Was just the execs love that number they get. We know they should be doing higher. We remember year 1 when they did 1.4 million viewers on the first episode and they dropped after that. We remember in year 2 when they were doing almost 1 million every single week.
Yep.
850, 900, 950. We remember that. TV execs ain't looking at. They're looking at weekly, consistent television top 5 programming. Now, I don't want another show. If that's what they got to do, though, to get this contract, God bless. Pump out more. Rumor is it may be on FS1, which is great. They got a Fox connection. This is incredible for the industry. I just want it to be announced so we can stop hearing about it. Right? There's so much.
You're over it. Just tell me what it is.
Well, I'm over. Let's move on. What I'm over is the discourse of people talking bad about said deal before it's even announced. That's really what I'm over. Like, okay. I don't see much of, haha, I told you so. Because if you are a diehard AEW fan, I am sure it is rough sometimes in these streets from other fans completely crapping on, AEW. So bravo to Tony, bravo to AEW. Now, what I do hope is after this deal is signed, there's some type of plan put in place with, okay, what are we doing with this money? And how is that going to help elevate the brand? Like, you know, if they get that amount of money, do we put a fourth of that to marketing to try to get these buildings full? Like, what are we doing to make the business healthier? Is that going straight to merchandising? That's what I would like to know is, you know, another other part we don't know too is we've always thought this means the pay-per-views are going to be on Max. I still think that's a slam dunk shoe in, but that's a little bit of gray area. Because one report I saw was it'll be on Max and still on like Bleacher Report, just in case people who don't have Max. I think that's a smart idea. But bravo, man! Like I'm excited for him. I just hope that's not a green light to. Once again, look, they are. I would love to make that type of money. So whatever I say is going like, who are you to tell somebody who is about to sign for $500 million what to do? But just don't use all that money to sign more wrestlers.
Well, I mean, you can.
Talent
you can, but just make sure that also with that, you got some good storylines. Because like, these wrestlers, make them pay. They put their body on the line. But for sure, like, you talking about $100+ million a year? Oh my gosh.
Because what's the deal right now? 4 for $160, right? Total?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the deal?
Something like that, yeah. So
you're talking about, if those numbers are correct, they're making more in 1 year than they made their entire last 4 years.
Wow. And this is just a TV. This is just TV deal. Because I know you mentioned something about the pay-per-views.
Yep.
And so this doesn't even saying like we are owning your pay-per-views as well. This is purely just network TV.
Well, we don't know just yet. We might be some kind of streaming implication in this, but we don't know. But yeah, it's almost $500 million for 3 shows. Right now, I think most people expect them to get double on this contract. But, we're going back to the ratings. So you think about for this company that kind of declined over the past couple of years, I hope that this allows them to continue to think of ways to kind of move forward, because AEW originally, now this is all rumor speculation, but originally they wanted a 200 a year deal. And they're looking for a 5-year guarantee, right?
Yeah, I know they wanted 5 years. So 200. So that's a
they want 200. They wanted 200. They wanted 200.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you think about the grand scheme of like the contract, so WB they just lost NBA, so the money's there, right? They were going to give NBA something out of the 2 different things, but the money's there, right? The budget was there for money, and you think of a lot of these sporting companies who are giving you live competition or live sports like NBA about to get broke off in their next deal. So you think about all the money that was made there. There's definitely was a realm to where AEW could have potentially gotten what they were looking for if numbers were potentially a little bit stronger, right? Well, they had a little bit more negotiation to get those extra guaranteed years and get a slightly higher number. That would have been great for them, right? So now in this 3-year time period, I hope they take that as an opportunity to really look at their business and really try to rope in some new viewers, some lapsed viewers, and some people who walked away, right? Because they're still kind of comping down year over year. So now they got that monkey off their back over the next, really 2 years, right? Because that right might be a little more stress, right? So they might kind of try to do some things and maybe hot shot. But I mean, that other 4th year, if network likes what they're doing, they're probably gonna obviously renew, because if AEW's doing much better.
What they're doing now. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
They're doing much better, right? They're definitely going to give them that 4th year. I doubt that, WB can say like, yo, you know what? We're going to drop you at the end of that 3rd year. We're going to renegotiate for a lower number. I don't see it. But I hope they take that as an opportunity to kind of grow their business so they can get the next deal and get that the money that they're looking for and what they deserve.
Two things I thought about while you were talking. One was WBD losing out on NBA, and that money was sitting there. I was listening to an interview actually just last week with 50 Cent, where he talked about when he signed with Reebok, RBK, he signed a shoe deal. That money was just sitting there because LeBron was supposed to sign with Reebok, and then he went with Nike. And he said the money, so I think he either got a $30 or $50 million deal. He was like, that was the LeBron money. I was able basically, because they had it to the side already. Negotiations sound different when I know you have the money to the side, right? 50's one of the GOATs for me, just in terms of marketing and his mind and strategy. So that probably was a good leverage for AEW. And like, well, we know you got it.
We know you got the money there because you have it in escrow right now waiting for NBA.
The second part is I wonder how much of AEW's attendance issues, because their ratings are the same for the most part, right? Like if you look at buy rates, the buy rates are basically pretty good every single show. The ratings kind of are what they are. Yeah, they're down like 12%, 10%. You know,
they're
from
down
last
like
year,
26. They're down like almost 25% from previous year on average.
No, from last year.
Yeah,
and a quarter.
And their pay-per-views are, I think, 15 and 20% too. Like they're overall, like most on all their platforms, they're comping down like 20%.
Yeah, like I know their pay-per-views do typically anywhere from like 130 to 150. That's a lot of money at $50.
That's on the high end. Most of them, the ones this year didn't do quite that. Some of them were doing like 120, 130.
So yeah, I mean, but that's still, you're still talking. I'm looking at thousands. So my point is, I wonder, those numbers still don't equate to the really bad attendance. Attendance is the worst out of all three segments, and I just wonder how much of that is the cool factor on television. Like when you see these international shows with WWE, you see these sold out Raws and SmackDown. If you're a fan at home, you want to be a part of that environment. I don't know when you're watching Dynamite or Collision if you want to be a part of the environment. The in-ring action is great. I can watch the in-ring on TV though. What's making me go to spend the money? So I don't know what they can do. I don't want to say give out free tickets because then you hurt your brand. I remember when like the Pistons were really struggling in ticket sales years ago, and one of the people, it may have been Tom Gore as the owner, said at a point you devalue everything if you continue to drop the price, because if you can get a price for something super cheap, then that is a cheap product. So yes, you could sell it at that, but you're doing more damage than good. So I don't want to say like give tickets away for free, but they got to figure out a way how to fill these buildings. And I think that would get people who are watching at home get that cool factor back. Like, man, I need to be there when they come back. Like that looks like a blast.
They got to do more compelling television, man. Like it comes down to like, here's the like, you know, they keep throwing this inflation, like the inflation is crazy. Like, so people will spend money on what they want to spend money on, right? Like WWE is hot and their tickets are going up and up and up, right? So people, they're filling out these arenas and these stadiums, and like these prices are double what they were a year ago, right? But they're still managing to sell out. So people are still spending money on what they want to spend on, right? Now, when you think about the AEW product, you know, just like their last show, I think was like it's a little over 700 views, right? 200,000 of that was from the overrun, right? People switching over from the Big Bang. Like they lost 200,000 views. Like really, the people that are tuning in to watch Dynamite, you know, at least first run, we don't know what they're watching on DVR, etc. It's between 500 and 600,000, right? So how many of those people are willing to pay for a ticket or two or three? Like, right? They got to get people consistently watching that show at a higher level in order to, buy a ticket, and then let alone spend $50 on a pay-per-view. Like, right? Like if you're not watching for free, for sure is it going. I remember, we were having a conversation, this was months ago, when, AEW came down to Georgia and Rhodesia was like, yo, E, why aren't you going to see Collision? Like, you mean to tell me that you're not going to spend, X amount of money, a good price to go see Collision, but you're going to spend double that to go to see WWE? I was like, Rhodesia, I don't watch Collision now. Let alone, I don't watch it for free, let alone to spend my time to drive an hour through traffic and pay money to see the product, right? I'm not going to do that. However, I'm very invested in a WWE show. So that's worth my time to actually take my family to an experience that they can enjoy. And I think that's what a lot of viewers are. They have to create some compelling characters and stories that's going to drive people into the arenas, then thus allow them to pay for their product. I don't think right now, I think the people who are actually paying are the people who's watching. The couple of thousands that show up to arenas or the couple of thousands watching every day on the shows.
So I don't know if we can even answer this here, and I don't even know if I want to even have a conversation here to talk about it. But to what Matt was saying, because I was thinking about it too, you have consistently over 100,000 buy a pay-per-view. So consistently, yeah, you may drop 15 to 20%, but the amount of people showing up has dropped even more. Right. What is it? Why aren't these people going to the shows? Because it'd be different if it would cross the board, it's a 30% drop. But when we're talking about there's only 1,000 people in a 6,000 arena, that's way more. Like the margin is way different than what we're seeing on TV views and on pay-per-view views. And they're paying $50 to watch this. So that's where because I'm not AEW, but they need to figure out where's the disconnect at there.
But you think about it, Rhodesia, like you look at the pay-per-views, right? Like you guys were at the pay-per-view then just last weekend, right? That was filled up, right?
Yeah.
So they can fill it. They can fill an arena for a pay-per-view. They can fill an arena for a Mercedes debut. Right? So the fans will come for a major event.
Right.
But the thing is, AEW can't survive on making every show a major event. They gotta have them. They gotta bring in some character stories that makes them engaged to want to go see that live. And that's what they have to figure out.
You talked about inflation. They just said that inflation is going down today. The Fed's dropping inflation.
Wait, stop.
That's what they said.
No, that's
what they said. Don't worry about it. That's what they said.
Financial girl, you
that's
can't
what they
say
said.
Like that.
And then Tupperware. Like hey, listen, inflation going down, man. We back. Tupperware filed for bankruptcy today. I think they filed Chapter 11.
How? Everybody named Mama got some Tupperware.
Somebody said on Twitter, "Yeah, man, food costs too much. Ain't no more leftovers." I said, "God bless." Last thing before we get out of here, top 10 list. I want to read you some of our folks that sent in their top 10 list. Shout out to everybody who sent theirs too. Yay. Remember, there is no right or wrong answer. Even though E tried to rake me over the coals last week, there is no right or wrong answer. This is your top 10.
There is very wrong answers, and you had one of them.
Hey, E, and I would like just to start with Chris Bush. You know, Chris Bush is a huge Eshaun fan. Chris Bush said, as a Cody fan, I'm with Matt right now. Cody is cold right now, E. Just wanted to put it out there. His top 10. Number 10, he has Jacob Fatu. Number 9, he said, I'm using E's tag team concept. He got Liv and Dom. He's a cheater too.
I never saw an intergender tag team.
Exactly.
That's pretty good.
Then he has LA Knight, Jey Uso, Rhea Ripley, Cody Rhodes at 5, Damian Priest, Gunther, CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre is number 1. It's a pretty good list too. He said he struggled to get Solo on there. He said there's no AEW talent because he doesn't really watch the show, so it's kind of hard for him to include them.
That's fair.
Yep.
I'm surprised he got Knight up as where he did, but go ahead. Keep going.
I mean, LA Knight, he's having a hell of a year. Right? And once again, this is your top 10.
Right.
Brandon, shout out to Brandon, man. Brandon got number 1, the final boss. He typed out the final boss. He
Come
didn't say
on,
the Rock.
I know what Brandon this is.
There it is. He said the final boss. Number 10, he had Nia Jax. I think that's only from sexual energy, though. I'm not really sure that's from what he saw on television, but I might digress. 9 was Rhea Ripley. 8, he had Priest. 7, Swerve. 6, Jey Uso. Then he had Cody at 5. Gunther at 4. Ospreay at 3. Drew McIntyre at number 2. And then The Rock at number 1.
Real quick, was the final boss in cap locks?
The T, the F, and the B.
Oh, okay.
Our guy Yusuf came through. And you know what? Shout out to Yusuf. I just knew he was going to have somehow Seth Rollins number 1.
He's die-lining them.
Seth did not even crack his top 10.
Yeah.
Wow. No Seth?
Yep, no Seth. Number 10, he got Dirty Dom. Then he has Liv. He has Sammy in number 8. I don't think no one has had Sammy yet on the list. Ospreay was 7. Rhea was 6. Swerve 5. Number 4, Joe Hendry. That's a good call. Joe Hendry's having a hell of a year right now. 3, Gunther. 2, Cody. Number 1, Drew. So Drew's like in everybody's top 3.
I'm really surprised with the omission of Seth on that list.
I think he's probably thinking. I mean, if you think about how often Seth has been out, that's a big piece of it.
But this year, though, he's. I mean,
Seth was going right after Mania. He was going after Mania, and then he got gone. Yeah, exactly.
Because if you look at his list, I don't know who you would take off. Like for him, I know how big of a Seth Rollins fan. Maybe Dom, but
yeah,
maybe
Dom and Seth
too, though. Yeah, I can see that.
But it's his list because, like, you think about it, like Dom, his biggest accomplishment this year is finally pinning his dad, right?
Twice.
Oh, I was about to say breaking up, sending up, and putting
and pinning Liv.
But he has won though. He has some nice dimes.
Yeah,
he had on his arm. So yeah, he's won more than he's lost.
He's winning and he's getting them nuggies. Joe Davis has a top 5 male wrestler and he has a top 5 female wrestlers.
Let's go.
His female list, his number 1, I still got to look, Joe. I haven't had a chance to pull it up yet. 5, he has Roxanne Perez. Absolutely, if you're doing a female list. Number 4 was Toni Storm. 3 was Nia Jax. 2 was Julia. Number 1 was Mayu Iwatani. And I asked him to send me a couple of matches I'll put up on YouTube so I can be familiar with her. So he did that. So I'm excited to see her because I'm sure once I see her, I'll know her, but I haven't seen her work before.
Yeah,
top 5 male wrestlers. Gunther at number 5, Drew, Ospreay, Bryan, and Swerve. So nice list there. Our guy Wole, and like Wole is another one who's trying to give me shit on X, right? And then he revises his list. Like, what part of the game is that? He sends me one list and then he says actually revised list. So I'll go with that one.
Hey, no, for now.
Hey, all right, I'll give you both. I'm going to assume he started at 1, so I'm gonna just work my way back.
Okay.
Nick Nemeth, Toni Storm, Gunther, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, Swerve, Ospreay. Top 3 was Danielson, Rhea, and Cody as number 1. Then his revised list, he took Dolph off. I don't know what Dolph did to you, but Dolph is gone. So he got Toni Storm, Gunther, Jey Uso. He put Seth on his list. First time we've seen Seth. So that's where his flip was. He added Seth. Drew McIntyre, Swerve, Ospreay, Danielson, Rhea, and Cody.
Got it.
So shout out to everybody that sent their list. That's good stuff. Once again, but we saw a lot of the same names, right? Some of these folks are having a hell of a year, and it's got another 4 months. So real quick, and then we'll get out of here. If you had to pick one person that was not named on anybody's list that has a chance to crack all of our top 10 lists by the end of 2024, who would that be?
I would have to bring in one of the R's. I would have to bring in either Roman or The Rock.
Well, Rock was on my list.
You said
he wasn't on my list. He wasn't on my list.
Okay.
Yeah, he was on Matt's horrible list. I think Matt had the worst list I've heard.
Matt had him on
number 1.
Yeah, he had
my list was great. Are you kidding me?
Rhodesia, I want you to never get flack from this man about the list ever again. I want you.
First off, I shouldn't be getting flack from nobody.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm stop.
Only E has said my list was bad, and Wole just tried to tag team on me, and he wants to send out 15 different lists. Everybody else was fine with my list.
I take that back.
No.
Take out Nick Nemeth.
It was great. It was great putting Cody where he belongs.
I'm gonna go Bron Breakker.
That's a good one. Yep, that's a good one. Now, if we're looking at the next 3 months, outside of, to Rhodesia's point, we know Roman. I think Roman's actually going to be at every PLE for the rest of the year. If I'm not mistaken, he's probably the answer. I could easily see Jacob Fatu cracking the list too. Sure could. And CM Punk.
One last question. Okay, one last question for real. This has been the elephant in the room for now the longest amount of time of ROH history. Should the gimmick just be Athena never comes on AEW TV just so she could still be the shining star she is in ROH? She's the longest reigning ROH champion that there is and ever will be, probably. And we don't ever see her online. ROH has what, like something on YouTube? Or if you do the Final Honor Club, does that still exist?
Yeah.
Okay. Exists. So is that the only way that we can see her?
Yep.
Yeah. I saw that tweet and I was like, yeah, get the fuck out of here with that. Like, man, it's a shame they got that girl behind a paywall. It's a shame they got that girl.
So
behind
you
a
want
paywall.
you want her to be on AEW TV?
She got to be. And no, it's a shame that we're gonna get like a 6 AEW show that nobody's gonna watch, but we still can't get ROH on TV. Wow.
And what's irritating to me more than anything else is every other ROH champion, I believe, I could be wrong, has been on AEW television numerous times this year.
I know the bum ass tag teams are on. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that.
That's what I mean. That's
I didn't mean to say that.
I tried to stay away from this topic because this would have been me completely crapping on AEW or ROH. But there's no excuse for this, none whatsoever. You have somebody like her not on your television. It does no good. She's not selling let's not do that. Let's keep her behind the paywall because okay, that's the case. Then keep Sammy Guevara behind the paywall. Yeah. Keep Briscoe behind the paywall. Just keep everybody else behind it. But that's not the case. So once again, I don't want to get down that road. And I don't think it's racial or anything like that. I just think it's a horrible decision.
She's the only one too. Everyone else has been on AEW.
One.
She's the only one that has been on AEW TV.
Yep. Crazy. Maybe with the new money, the new deal, she can find her way on AEW TV on one of the new 5 shows they're gonna have to pimp out the FS1 for that money. She'll be on one of those shows.
The Athena show.
If she still can't think about that. They add a 4th show, and she still can't get on that show. All right, we out of here.
Crazy.
But is it a jinx though? Do we want her on AEW TV?
Yes.
Okay.
No damn jinx. All right, y'all. We gave y'all 2 hours. 2 full hours. Take that as if you used to having 2 shows a week from the TFW pod, you know what you do, right? Stop this joint at hour 1, and then you listen to the next hour in a couple of days. And that gets you through the full week of the TFW podcast. We out of here. We'll be back next week, same time. We are going to talk about NXT because I want to get to NXT. They have put together a tremendous show in Chicago that we will be going to. Word is they're trying to get 1 million viewers for the first show on CW. So we'll talk about that. Also talk about the show that they build. Of course, we'll talk about Bad Blood. And if everything goes right, we are going to have a special guest on the podcast the following week to talk about their experience at Bad Blood and everything that's going on in wrestling. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So should be a good show. You guys got anything for us? Y'all know where to find us. We already talked about our YouTube. That's Freaking Wrestling. We already shouted out our X. That's FNW. Hit us up. We out of here. We will talk to y'all next week. Perfectly 2 hours.